And we're live. Thank you so much for joining us today. Episode 6 of Polybius, the first and only travel and hospitality panel on the metaverse. Thank you so much for being with us today. We got a lot of panelists today, so I'm going to go straight into the introduction of all these beautiful people with us today. Some of them joined us in the past. I think, Michael, this is probably your third time in the show. So thank you so much, Michael, for coming back. Can you introduce yourself in one line?
Sure. I'm Michael Cohen. I'm the managing partner of a global innovation, travel, hospitality technology advisor group called Growth Advisors International Network, or GAIN. And I'm happy to be back at this important summit. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Michael. And sitting on my right, we got Hasan. Thank you so much for being with us, Hasan. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Simone. My name is Hasan Algarhy. I'm the founder of Blueverse, which is a metaverse company based in Dubai. I'm also a committee chair at the World Metaverse Council, which you're all, of course, welcome to join. And I'm happy to be back again on the panel with the amazing experts here today.
Very good. And on my left, we got Salman. Introduce yourself.
Hello there, everyone. Salman Halawi. I am a entrepreneur, futurist, keynote speaker, and founder at Meta Designers, a Web3-based services platform connecting brands with trusted Web3 service providers. Thank you, Simone, for having us.
Always a pleasure. And I will never be able to pronounce it right. You know it, so sorry. I'm going to call you Matt.
That's correct. Hey, guys, I'm Matt or Matthew. I do some consulting with the Web3 and Web2 brands, and also talking a little bit about investing, especially in the metaverse.
Good. And we got Vincent.
Thank you for the invite, Simone, and welcome everybody. Quickly introducing myself, originally from Holland, and I'm, a hospitality professional with over a decade of operational experience. Turned techie, I guess, a couple of years ago. Currently a GAIN advisor at the firm of Michael. Currently collaborating on immersion technology, offerings such as Web3 technologies, immersive experiences, and artificial intelligence, specifically for hoteliers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And one of my favorite people we discussed several times over the phone over the last few weeks, Eli. Thank you for being with us today.
Hey guys, thank you for the invite, Simone. Super to be here. So yeah, I'm Eli, and I'm the founder of Conspicuous. And sum it up, I study and apply different ways of using technologies as crypto, AI, and the metaverse in order to help people with their mental health. So yeah, that's in a word, in a sentence, what I do, and I'm looking forward to the panel today.
Very good. And let's move to the Italian. So we got Roberto. Again, probably third time as well for you, Roberto, right?
Yes, it's correct. Hi, Simone. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Roberto Garavaglia. I'm a strategic consulting, 30 years strong track record in payment innovation and blockchain. So I'm also author of some bestsellers in Italy, all about blockchain, all about NFT, and I'm super happy to be here with you, with everybody, guys. Thank you.
Great. And last but not least, Sergio.
Hi everyone, I'm Sergio Schemeil, and I create digital spaces in metaverse platforms. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you. Okay, let's go straight into it. So, Michael, just can you please explain, try to explain ChatGPT to my grandmother? What is ChatGPT?
Okay, to your grandmother. Wow. Okay, so if you
She's
took
smart.
if you okay, so if you took a 1965 Ford, no, I'm joking. Okay, so ChatGPT is a text-based interface, computer interface, web-based interface for interaction between, in one instance that we all are mostly comfortable with, human interaction with artificial intelligence engines that are built around large language models, LLMs. So ChatGPT is one acronym. And so it's basically creates a very powerful Q&A experience for humans to interact with a massive amount of data that is AI has enabled into an ability to deduce, to conjure, to create, and to answer back to a human who is making those prompts or queries. So we talk about prompts, and we'll talk about later on in this panel. Prompts are what humans type into a ChatGPT interface on the web, in a chatbot, attached to a search engine, and a company called OpenAI, which has a massive $10 billion or more investment from Microsoft, has been the commercial driver and technology driver of ChatGPT. Google has its own version, which is called Bard, and there's other competing open source ChatGPT type scenarios that are rolling out as well. One last thing is, for this initial kind of overview, is the next stage of what's happening is Auto GPT, which is AI engines or AI entities that are interacting and communicating and dialoguing with each other to complete very complex tasks. So that's really what ChatGPT is.
So we can say, like, if we strip it down, we can say that it's like a big chatbot on steroids.
It's a big chatbot on steroids that is connected to massive amounts of trained artificial intelligence power and data.
Hasan, let's start with you. And just to understand where we're going with that, why do you think that there is all this talking about generative AI or AI in general recently? You think it's only because of ChatGPT, it's only because of OpenAI, or you think that, and this is what I feel, that the time is finally right for all these technologies, different technologies, to converge and to create something that is actually actionable even for the man on the street, not only for academics? What's your take on that?
I think it's due to the huge potential of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been around for a long time. It's not a new thing. And maybe I would say the metaverse hype and then artificial intelligence trend is, made it more popular, and the high potential in it. And I want to actually touch upon demystifying a narrative that I find very, very annoying, the narrative implying that artificial intelligence and the metaverse are two competing technologies. And this is a totally, which means, like, because artificial intelligence is becoming trendy now, the metaverse is dying and so forth. And this is a totally wrong perspective. Because, the metaverse is basically an ecosystem of technologies, including VR, AR, XR, MR, and artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is a component of this ecosystem. Now, since I get that out of the way, let me give you an example of how you can use, for example, ChatGPT or artificial intelligence or Google Board or any Bard or any of these tools in, for example, in increasing revenue for your hotel, So we need to understand, we know now that these tools are kind of generative tools. So it depends on also the data and the questions that we ask them. So the quality of the outcome depends on the question and the data that we give. So for example, let's say I'm trying to clarify the potential here. You want to increase the revenue of your hotel. So you tell them, okay, give me 5 ideas to increase the revenue of my hotel. Now, if you want a better answer, you will say, give me 5 ideas to increase the revenue of my hotel in Rome or Como during summertime. So to be more specific, and you will get a better outcome. So, I mean, the kind of data, the way we deal with this tool, we need to understand how it generates the data, and we need to understand that the outcome depends on the data and questions and the approach that we deal with these tools in general.
So I'm going to ask to ChatGPT now to give me some revenue management tips for a hotel while we talk. So I'm curious now to see what it has to say. Salman, what's your take on that? Do you think that the time is right, or and this could have happened anyway with another company? Or do you really think that ChatGPT is like a real revolution? I was like, I think Joe Rogan said the other day something in the lines of ChatGPT is for tech the equivalent of the invention of printing. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that this is just one company and we will see way more in the next few months or years?
All right. I'm gonna actually tackle this by taking us a few years back to when Meta announced their metaverse, and how everyone started thinking that the Meta Horizons was the metaverse, and then we started talking about the topic of the metaverse more on a mainstream level, and would like to compare that to the rise of ChatGPT, followed by the rise of AI. I believe both of these platforms were catalysts uh, that helped bring these industries into the mainstream. It was about time technologically where we reached this point, and I believe that we're on a trajectory to be more immersed with technology and allowing this technology to make us more efficient as humans and more capable moving into the digital era.
I agree 100% with that. And I think that I always say that at some point, probably the only chance that we have as a species will be some kind of merge. That doesn't necessarily mean like in a cyborg kind of way, but you know, a friend said that in a beautiful way. Said, look, artificial intelligence is not coming for our jobs, but people that know how to use artificial intelligence will take the job of people that don't know how to use artificial intelligence. And I think this is so true for the hospitality space as well. So, Matt, I'm going to give this to you. Do you think that in the next few months or even years, we will see a competition in our industry, but pretty much for any other industry, between uh, enhanced humans, meaning humans using AI to, you know, to get stuff done better and faster, and people that are stuck with just, let's say, a pen and paper mentality?
That's a very tough question. So I think that it's going to be similar, like maybe with the internet or something that's is similarly big. So it will, of course, like eliminate huge part, maybe not the whole jobs, but huge part of many different jobs. But also it will unlock a whole new area of stuff. And, you know, internet didn't eventually kill all of the bookstores or books. It just moved them closer to the users. So I believe that similar things will happen, and you have so many different administrative jobs that are not so much fun to do and to perform by the people that are actually doing the job. And now with the AI, you can reduce this and maybe have one person doing work for 4 or 5 others, just drafting, you know, some replies on emails, SOPs, whatever. And then you don't necessarily need to fire the other 4 people. You can just give them something that might be more suited to their skills, maybe more fun, and can bring you some extra revenue. So instead of just selling product A, you can maybe add 3 more products to the pipeline. It's definitely a great enhancement of the work, and I'm super excited to see how it will look like in the months and years to come.
Simone, if I can add, because this is, I think, a mission critical part of this panel today.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking to people in the global hospitality industry specifically who may be watching, you know, everyone from the vendor or the brand or the property side or the investment side is fully aware that there are staffing challenges at the property level all over the world. So first of all, this is not soon, this is not future, this is happening right now. And the ability for generative AI, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence interfaces to assist existing staff to do more be more productive with their time, and to eliminate the amount of drudgery and frankly, wasted productive hours that they have to do with some, rudimentary drudgery type analysis or transactional type work, and free what you do have in the property or even at the executive level, because there's also a real challenge at the in the C-suite or the management suite to do more productive, profitable effort. That is, in real terms, the biggest value that everything we're talking about today can deliver for the global hospitality industry.
And I think, we always complain about the fact that the costs of human staff in hospitality is so high because we need so many people, right? And I was reading some figures talking that for some properties, the cost of human staff can go up to 40%. And that's crazy if you think about that. And so my 2 cents is that, and I totally agree with you, if we can use and leverage AI to reduce the workload of repetitive tasks and trivial tasks, we can actually operate with not necessarily less people, but we can operate with better people and just putting the human back where the human factor actually makes a difference. I always make the example of when you go to a supermarket and you got somebody that is just scanning barcodes, right? And how more valuable that person would be as a store manager, helping you out, picking the right, brand of cereal for breakfast, rather than just scanning barcodes. And I think that the sooner we understand that human and artificial intelligence are not in competition, not even in our industry that is so human-centric, the better we will get rid of this bias, and we can actually leverage AI to get even more to the root of what we do, that it's basically, humans serving other humans in a way that's just hospitality. So yeah, I totally agree with you. By the way, while you were talking, guys, I just asked ChatGPT a couple of questions. And the first one is, ChatGPT, please give me some ideas to increase revenue for a hotel in Paris. And yeah, that's not bad. Just says collaborate with local tourist attractions. Yeah. Leverage online travel agencies, OTAs. Yeah. What else? And names the dining experience. Leverage seasonal events and enhance the guest experience. Okay, fair enough. That's not bad.
Now, let me tell you, if you want to, for example, if you write more details, it's going to elaborate more on the ideas that it already gave you. But if you want additional ideas, then you have to write the question or the data in a different way. Please give me more innovative ideas or more creative ideas, So ChatGPT works in a sequential model, which means it fills the blanks with the most probable word. So for example, we say, Simona is eating in a, most likely it will write, for example, a restaurant. Why the fact could be that you're eating with your friend. It might be like that. So it's a sequential model that you need to know how it works and how to generate data. You need to first predefine what you want, the outcome that you want, and then feed it the data and the questions according to the outcome that you're looking for.
So Hasan, while I move to Vincent for the next question, I'm going to give you a task. Come up with a good prompt and just write it down on the chat, and I'm going to copy paste it on ChatGPT, okay?
Actually, there is a tool, a plugin, AIPRM for Google Chrome. It's called AIPRM. You can it's a plugin for Google Chrome, and it will give you the prompts for many industries, the data and the questions, recommendation on how to deal with ChatGPT, how to ask ChatGPT, and what are the right questions. So that can be used as well.
I didn't even know about that. Okay, you need to give me this one. I'm going to check it out after the event. Okay, that's why I do these kind of things, guys, because you're so much smarter than I am. Vincent, so back to you. Do you think that, this is an hard one, do you think that for the hospitality space, the use of AI, be it ChatGPT or something else, will make the industry better, worse, or do you think that in an industry like ours, it will make no difference at all?
Well, let me be very specific, Simone. I think it's a great question, and Hasan some great points in there about prompt engineering. First of all, the hotels and in general the hospitality industry, the businesses that don't leverage technology right now, yes, they're going to fall behind, and AI is definitely going to make it worse, and specifically in distribution, in customer retention, employee retention. So yes, some companies will experience the effects of AI badly, I suppose, if you're already not using that. It's going to be the same story of all these big intermediaries coming into the distribution landscape and not focusing on direct channels, right? So yes, that's going to affect those guys. But the guys that are acting right now, the companies that are looking beyond ChatGPT, and don't get me wrong, ChatGPT is a super powerful tool, and it has a lot of applications in the hospitality industry. But when I see the tools that are out there beyond ChatGPT that can, in fact, improve your staff retention, improve your guest experience, personalization, revenue management, security components, predictive maintenance for asset managers, or energy efficiency, customer segmentation. I can go on and on and on. And there are already tools within the hospitality industry that hospitality companies should use beyond ChatGPT. But I think where the real gems are, and that's something what we typically forget in the hospitality industry. Look beyond the hospitality industry. Look what the fashion industry is using. Look what the manufacturing industry is using. What are these guys using to leverage technology and improve all these different facets that overlay with a hotel or a restaurant? A manufacturing industry, they also have staff. They also have finance. They also have inventory management, energy components that the hotel or hospitality sector also definitely can learn from. So my recommendation would be that to act now before it's too late. Because one thing that I wanted to add as well, as last thing, is that the beauty of artificial intelligence is that the more you feed it and the more you develop it, the smarter it becomes, right? It's artificial intelligence. So if you start now, as opposed to in 5 years, you're already developing all this data, all this useful databases, so to say, to work from. So you're only going to become smarter the more you use it.
Well, that's a great point. That actually opens up some thoughts for the question I want to ask to Eli. And taking what Vincent just said, you think that the hospitality industry is working in some kind of silos, that we are not looking at any other industries? Because I see that all the time. And you're a consultant, I'm a consultant. We hear that a lot. Listening to people saying, this is hospitality, there's a certain way of doing things. Only if you come from hospitality, you can understand that. And all the rules that apply for the retail or fashion or events or whatever, they don't necessarily apply to hospitality. That to a certain extent, I think it's a little snobby, to say the least. And I think that in the long run could actually harm the industry, because we are just looking inside our little box. But the problem is that this box is getting smaller and smaller. So Eli, do you have that? And do you think that this could be one of the reasons why the hospitality space is so reluctant when it comes to AI adoption?
Much for the great question. It's a really interesting question, and I think the answer for me is like, if they haven't adopted it, it's because they haven't been served with something so obviously helpful that they'd be like, yeah. No, if someone came to you tomorrow and was like, hey, do you want $1,000 and do nothing for it? It'd be like, yeah. You're like, yeah. And I feel like one of those things, the way I'm looking at it, could be for managers. right? The hospitality business is a business where you're interacting a lot with clients, and that's very stressful. They can be rude, there's high pressure, and then you're interacting a lot with like managers and teams, and usually like to run a hotel, it takes a little village. And so the way I see, not tools as ChatGPT, Sam Altman doesn't really care about feelings that much. So his tools that he's building are not really meant to like have, I don't know. So I don't know ChatGPT that well, but I've been messing around with Pi from the creators of DeepMind and LinkedIn, and this is an artificial intelligence with an EQ. And so I can see, for the front lady, if she has an upsetting interaction with a client, then she goes into the AI tool and talks it through with the AI. And so, she can then show at her best. Or a manager when he's overwhelmed because his team members are calling in sick and, like overwhelming things are happening, he can turn to an AI. And I'm like, those kinds of use cases for me, if they're really useful and there's no like harm to them, I feel like the hospitality industry will, take those ideas. Maybe they may not be the biggest of innovators naturally, but I feel like if you present them with something, just like we didn't care much about AI before ChatGPT, where we were like, okay, now I can do something with this that I understand, and I feel like maybe that's missing. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Totally. And I was, while you were talking, I was also thinking about, there's another thing where stuff like ChatGPT can actually help. And that is, for example, especially in an industry where we do see people from all different parts of the world and different ethnicity and different religions. To a certain extent, I think it could even help people on their first experiences in the hospitality space. Maybe they are not super familiar with, how to treat other human beings in the hospitality space. And I think ChatGPT can actually help. Like, let's say, how could you get the best out out of a hospitality experience for somebody coming from a different culture, for example. And it's not always so evident for us. And I think that just because AI is not biased, it doesn't really have emotions. It can even help us understand better humans to a certain extent. And that is why I always say that this is not a competition between AI and HI, where HI stands for human intelligence. I think this can actually be a great cooperation in the future. So I'm going to move to Roberto, because we talked a lot about, over the last couple of days, Roberto, we talked a lot about, feelings and emotions and AI, and where does AI fits in. So I know that you got something you want to say, so I'm not even asking you a question. Just say what you have to say.
Yes, yes, Simone. So I now thinking about the opportunity that is come from AI chatbot enabled. So suppose, for instance, that we can use the AI chatbot in the metaverse space, like this one, for instance. And suppose, by looking at the future, of course, that new technologies such as neurotechnologies, for instance, and the metaverse itself promise to take our industry to new levels. Let's suppose, imagine a world where neural interfaces replace the traditional screens, and there is the opportunity, let me say, to get a brain reading system providing patterns, the behavioral patterns, to ChatGPT. This would allow us to understand the preferences and desire of our guests, successful. So I would like to share my screen, and I would ask also for your participation, your participation, Simone, and participation of everybody. So I started to share my screen now, and and I would like to share this short video, and I don't know if is it possible to enlarge it, but I try to do this. Okay. Quite difficult to do this in live environment. Anyway, I tried to do this. Okay.
Let me try to help you out.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. We are now attempting both to the to the same actions. Okay. So so you can look at these shorts, and feel free to think about the emotions that these short can give you, Simone, and can give everybody. Just take a deep breath, okay, and think about the emotions that you can now feel. I would stop within 3-4 seconds this video. So let's start.
Roberto, just if I can interject, Roberto, you guys are seeing the screen on your side, but the panelists are not seeing the screen because we're behind the screen.
Okay,
sorry.
just I'm going to move it. Just never mind. Just stop it, and I'm going to flip it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I look at it for enough time and feel a little more relaxed now. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to move it here and flip it for you. So you should be able to see it now, and let's make it a little bigger, maybe.
And now,
sounds good.
So you know that the people on LinkedIn, they are seeing a black screen because the directors now needs to. Here he comes. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Now.
Okay. So. Can everybody look at the shot? Yes?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, fine. Okay. So I just stop the screen sharing, and now please give me your very first emotions that you have tried by telling me only one word. And in doing that, I have to share another screen with my ChatGPT. Okay.
Wow. Let's start with Hasan. Let's start with you. Let's start with like clockwise. So Hasan, one word. How do you feel?
Yes. So first of all, would you show my ChatGPT, or I need to enlarge it? So
Let me enlarge it a little. I'm doing it right now.
Thank you, because this is the most powerful demonstration that I've never given. Yeah. Okay, so please, okay, shift up, maybe on the left, in order to get everybody acquainted with this screen. So now I interact with my ChatGPT. I have previously instructed the Automa via a very, very, very simple prompt as per instruction phase. So, Simone, can you tell me the very first emotion you got by seeing the video?
Yeah, even though I think I need to explain the mental process, because I look at it and it reminds me of Switzerland, and Switzerland remind me of cheese, and I reminded that I didn't have lunch today, so the emotion for me is I'm hungry. I'm not sure this is
Okay,
what you want to.
it's
I'm not
very,
sure
it's
this is what
very
you want to
curious.
do.
Okay. It's very curious. So I try to write it angry, yes, angry, not hungry, I suppose. Okay,
No, just
I'm
angry.
joking. And okay, here you go. Voila. So my ChatGPT has detected that your emotion is an anger and emotion, and he tried to suggest you locations around the world based on your emotions. So the emotions you have tell me after seeing my shots. So it's not so fast, but I'm
Well, I love Thai food.
GPT-4, but okay, Bangkok, sorry, Thailand,
I love
Tokyo,
Japanese food as
Japan.
well, so that's fine.
Yeah. So just to give, so this is a very, let me say, it's just an example of the powerful of ChatGPT. So by looking only at one single word, in your case, angry, okay, angry. He detected your emotion and tried to translate in your preferred outdoors locations. So I have, of course, previously instructed my ChatGPT to give these answers. So maybe he suggests about 7 outdoors experience. Now it's number 6. So just to tell you and to tell everybody, there is not any tracks in this demonstration. For instance, I would ask you, Simone, you tell me if I well understand that you are a Switzerland lover, so you love very much Switzerland. Is correct? I have understood correctly?
I like Switzerland. I like the food. I like the
Okay.
food
So
more than anything.
Okay. Yeah. But okay, suppose that now my ChatGPT has discovered in your mind that you would like to get a great experience in Switzerland. Okay.
So while you do that, I'm going to ask this to Sergio to make sure that we have enough time.
So
all of us. And you keep typing, okay? So Sergio, because this opens a whole new line of questions, and Expedia is already doing something similar to a certain extent. But do you think that in the near future, ChatGPT or something similar can actually become like our personal travel agent to a level that it knows more about ourselves that we even know about ourselves? Like, because I'm thinking about, imagine something like a ChatGPT plugin that is connected to or your social networks, for example, or your Spotify playlist, or your Netflix account, and it knows about what you like, what you don't like, and what you like in that particular moment. So maybe you're into a crazy, I don't know, binge watching of a show that is located in Paris, for example, and ChatGPT is coming up with suggestion for hotels or experiences to live in Paris, and I can totally see that. Do you think that this, and we can go as far as Roberto is saying with BCI and brain interfaces, but do you think that even without merging with the technology, this can actually become a different way to look for travel? Because I can see that this is way more efficient than just Googling hotels and destination or just looking it up on OTAs. So what's your take on that, Sergio?
Yes, no, 100%. I really like this question. And so I am a developer, and I work with ChatGPT. I have Plus. I use the API. I explore different models, different ways to, let's say, use it. And so I'm part of the beta, and they enabled me two things. One is the web browsing to access real-time data. That's quite powerful. And another one is plugin, so plugin within the ChatGPT platform, so within the OpenAI ecosystem. But those plugins are developed by companies. And of course, there are already some travel companies who have developed those plugins. One is Get Your Guide and Expedia. So what they do, basically, you can download this plugin. At the moment, of course, it's just a few beta users. And so this plugin is developed by Get Your Guide and basically interacts with your prompt, with the prompt of the users. So that's, I think, quite the key, as you said, let's say, for businesses to really connect with the user, to take advantage also to 100 million for users of ChatGPT. Of course, this is just one platform. But this plugin, I think, is really, really interesting because one, of course, uses the data of ChatGPT and all the models, the latest models. Two, uses the data of the company. So the company can say, okay, this is my data, this is how it's structured. And as you said, the user then knows or can feed ChatGPT with his own data, and ChatGPT in the end does the magic, combines everything and gives the best value to the user. And
yeah, I think there is a. I think there is a beautiful interview with what's the name? John Reck, if I remember correctly, the CEO of Get Your Guide, about exactly what you're saying. So the new search experience for travel that is shifting away from Google.
Hey, Simone, listen, the answer that many of us are trying to communicate is 100% yes, because travel and hotels are all about experience and emotion. That's it. So we're now talking about that these large language models and artificial intelligence are being interspersed and integrated, as Sergio said, into the interfaces that tourists, guests, passengers, patrons are making choices and doing research on. Because the beautiful thing is it's all about experiences and emotions. That's what the travel brands spend hundreds of millions of dollars on doing in regards to designing their experiences, their destinations. That's where the international tourist boards are spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to convince a tourist or a guest to go to their location versus another. That's where a hotel spends hundreds of millions of dollars on their design, on their guest experience. So if it's all about experience and emotions, this is the perfect vortex of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's very interesting. Look, while you're talking, I'm asking something to ChatGPT, so give me 1 second. But okay, look, guys, this is so interesting. This should be a whole. Probably we need to do an episode 2 of this. But I just want to make sure that you can have a little more time. So I'm going to do another round of questions. And this is the same question for all of you guys, and that is, other than just using ChatGPT for simple copywriting and blogging and writing, Google Ads campaigns, for example, or meta posts. What are more interesting and even out of the box approaches that the hospitality space industry can use, and how we can make the industry better by leveraging systems like ChatGPT? So, and Hasan, let's start with you, but just let's try to think outside the box. So just forget about all the more, to a certain extent, low-level stuff, and that is, again, the whole copywriting and blogging and campaign creation. So what's your take, Hasan?
Yeah, I think that's
You're breaking up a little for me. I don't know. Is it fine for you guys? Because
yeah,
me,
unfortunately he's breaking up. His connection's a little tough.
Okay.
So
Salman, let's start with you, and Hasan, just check your connection for a second, okay?
Oh,
so Salman,
I would to start with an example that's a little bit out of the box here and a little bit futuristic. Okay, so what we know is that the metaverse will at some point be the place where pretty much every industry wants to be. And more specifically, the hotels want to be to leverage these virtual spaces to bring their guests over. Now, let's imagine one thing here. Imagine we've got a real-time AI translator. So at some point, you can walk into a hotel in some region that speaks a completely different language, and the person in front of you can understand whatever language you're speaking and answer you in real time through a AI translator. Another use case we could use for AI in the metaverse and for the hospitality industry is AI bots. So instead of having someone that is an avatar who has to stay in the space and answer all of your questions all day long, a hotel could just simply have a bot that is trained or that is powered by AI to answer whatever question you may have. There are a lot of other examples, but we are a lot of panelists, so I'm going to give the mic to someone else.
Okay, that's very interesting. Vincent, what's your take?
Yeah, sure thing. Can you hear me okay? Oh, good, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, something that the Web3 industry, I guess, sets apart from, or AI sets apart from the Web3 industry, is that AI now has real-time applications. Web3 also has that, but it's more developed in the AI space. And, both industries can complement each other, but if you look strictly to AI, you already have super straightforward, clear-cut applications. One of the tools that working most is, for example, conversational AI, something that we touched upon. Let's imagine you're a fast food chain and you have constant delivery calls coming in, right? You're not McDonald's or anything. You're a local fast food chain. Calls coming in, but you can't assist everybody, right? You don't have a centralized call center. You have one cell phone and that's it. But you have 10 people coming in. You can only assist one customer at a time. Those 9 other customers, you're losing out money, right? Because they will go to your competitor down the street. So what if you have a conversational AI bot that answers to the most basic questions, that could even simply process an order, and this is already possible, right? That could bring in additional revenue because you're losing all these customers to your competitor that can assist these customers that have multiple colleagues. And the beauty of this is that also consistent service, right? You train this bot, this AI bot, once on your standards, on your business, and it can it spits out consistent information and instant conversion of guests. And the same goes for the finance department. The same goes for marketing. There are already tools out there that people can use within 24 hours if they want.
I'm also thinking, like, imagine like a plugin, a ChatGPT plugin built on top of PMS or an event page or like a location blog. And let's say, and even in the Web2 space, so you get a traveler landing on a website, and that website will give you information about the destination and the hotel because it's getting data from these data sets, and it's all super tailor-made. So again, even for, and this is something just that I started thinking while you were talking, even in terms of increase of direct booking, that for a lot of hotels is still a big issue, especially in Europe. This could be like a great direct booking tool because you can really, like, with pretty much no budget, have this very tailored experience on your direct channel. So I'm going to give this to Eli because this is what we do on a daily basis. So do you think that to a certain extent the use of ChatGPT or ChatGPT-like technologies could actually help even in terms of improving the quality of the hotel distribution?
Well, yeah, definitely. And I feel like the tools, like, first of all, I don't like talking about just ChatGPT. I actually don't use ChatGPT that much. I look at other tools because I'm like, there's some specialized tools that have like specialized knowledge that can, the I was watching the big interview of Sam Altman on Lex Friedman, and he was saying like the goal of ChatGPT will help you figure out where you need to be, and then it will give you steps to how you need to go about it to get there. So ChatGPT and other tools like that, I feel like they really try to understand you, and they're being built for a big level of personalization. So I the way I see it is less like in an industry, but more in every single job within that company, from the people who swipe the floors to the CEOs to the customer success teams to the sales teams. And I feel like those tools will not be just applied to an industry. An industry is made of people. And what I'm mostly interested in is, what could ChatGPT automate? For example, I'm a customer success manager. What could ChatGPT basically get trained on my best practices, and then, auto write emails, and then drive retention numbers and a lot of money for companies throughout the year? You know what I mean? Things like that, where whatever a team is doing, you're going to take the best of the guys, best of everything, of everyone, and you're going to put it into a model that's then helping people get it right, like, a lot better, and just like drive upward the general level of the team. So I look more on the employee side. I look more on the what's your job, like if you're a developer in the hospitality industry, chances are you're not going to be using, Gen AI in the same way as it will be used if you're a hotel manager, right? So when we're talking about an industry, I always have a bit of trouble like making those kinds of trends, but I see a lot of potential in a lot of different roles. And again, the consultant is pretty important there, to arrive, get to know those people, get to know their processes, and have, be able to match that with a good knowledge of various different tools. But the answer to everything cannot be, oh, ChatGPT is just one model. But I would really encourage anyone to go and, yeah, test out others that may be a little bit more specialized than, the ones that we're all talking about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That's a great angle. Michael, I'm going to be back to you for last, because I do have a complicated question for you, and I know you can answer that.
Ooh,
So I'm
here we
going
go.
to, yeah. So I'm going to go Roberto for a second. So Roberto, just think outside the box for a second. What could be one application of, let's say, AI in general? Because again, Andy, you're totally right, that we can use in the hospitality space now. So not something, because what you're saying, and again, you know that I'm totally up for it, but it could be a few years away. But what can it be that we can do now with AI that maybe we were not thinking about? Roberto?
Sorry, the question is for me.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Because you switch seats. So yeah. I was going clockwise, but I didn't find you, and you were on another seat.
No. Okay. Sorry. No, in my perspective, as I said before, the opportunity that ChatGPT gives everybody in tourist and hotellery industry is just to catch, let me say, only a very few emotions, only very few words, and transform these very few words for emotions, for instance, in a very large discussions. So I mean, with discussion, I mean the opportunity to get more involved with any clients, any customer, by giving them the right product, the product that can match in the best way the sentiment that the customer would like. So, and this is incredible. This incredible machine is incredible because he can interact, for instance, in very different language. We have no time so far, but for instance, if I have asked to Salman to give me in his mother tongue the emotions, I can write it in his mother tongue emotions, and he give him the response in his language.
Yeah.
This is just to give you an idea. So
yeah, that's
I
pretty
don't know,
big. That's pretty big even for. I was talking to a friend, and she's a therapist, and she told me, the problem for a lot of expats is that when they talk in another language, their personality slightly changes as well, and we know that. We got many papers on that. So it's so important to make sure that you can actually express yourself in your language, because all the nuances will be there. You will be more yourself in a way. So yeah, that's very interesting. Sergio, last for you. So thinking outside of the box, what could be one current application of ChatGPT or ChatGPT-like system in the hospitality space?
Yeah, so before we mentioned the ChatGPT as a web interface, but what we can also use is the API, which is the interface where, yes, you have to write some code. However, it is actually called the Auto API. So the code is actually written by ChatGPT itself. So you want to say, okay, I have, for example, this set of data, for example, past partners, customers, venues, and then you can develop a small code or ask ChatGPT to develop this code for you that goes through this data and gives you insights or a report, for example. It is quite technically challenging. You will need to have someone who knows how to do it. However, it's quite cost effective because it's ChatGPT that writes, for example, the Python code for you. It starts writing functions, and then you have to test. Yeah. But it's I think it's the thing you can do right now.
Yeah, that's great, and I can see even in the near future stuff like websites, use of ChatGPT for fixing HTML5 code, or coming up with better website. Like imagine connecting ChatGPT on top of a heat map, for example, and this could enhance the experience so much. I mean, the applications are just endless. And this is connected to the question I want to ask you, Michael. And so get ready for that. I'm sure you will love that. Because let me tell you what I see, okay? And this is pure speculation, so it's just me talking. But what I like about ChatGPT, what I like about OpenAI, to a certain extent, is the fact that they are democratizing the use of AI, even for people in industries that up until now never really understood all the possible application and all the possible nuances, right? And when it comes to hospitality, we got one thing that is unique to us, and that is the fact that we have a tremendous amount of data about our guests, like anything from passports, credit cards, food preference, allergies, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking, if we can leverage all this data that we have, and we can feed data to ChatGPT, let's call it ChatGPT for the sake of clarity, but this can be anything. I'm thinking that the outputs can be actually two. The first one we discussed a little, and that is the more personalized experience for the end customer and the traveler. But what I see for our industry is a little more nuanced, because right now you got so many different technologies and so many different software that could completely change by the integration of, and it could be something else than ChatGPT, maybe an open source AI. And let me give you an example. Right now, if you want to pick an RMS, you got, at least if you're only fishing on the big lake, you got probably 20 different names, right? Now, in the future, we could get to a point that the only thing that we need to do is to plug our PMS and our channel manager directly into ChatGPT or whatever. And that software could help us with our revenue management strategy. Or we can get to a point that, we don't really need RFP, for example, for mice, and everything can be managed by connecting a plugin between our Congress PMS and our email provider and so forth. So do you think that, and I know this is like a complicated one, but do you think that there is a risk here that a lot of tech companies will disappear because the only thing that they are doing now is crunching all the data coming from third parties and make them actionable in a way? And if you remove that by using some ChatGPT kind of software, their edge will be lost. In other words, could it be that in 2 years we will not need any RMS because the only thing we need to do is connect our PMS to ChatGPT? I don't know if it makes sense.
So first of all, Simone, as always, you're the king of the longest questions in the industry. So
I know.
You're consistent. That's okay. And I think in there's a question. So I think I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. Any innovative technological, and this is, I like what Ellie's been talking about a little bit, that we're not, we should focus outside of maybe this very focused conversation about ChatGPT, which is the today interface or the today dialogue. But really, any revolution in any industry, or so, it has futurists, it has innovators, and then it has realists. And what you're talking about is, will this paradigm shift in large language models that are trained specifically on vertical industries, such as hospitality, such as travel, such as the restaurant business, et cetera, will they be able to provide so much generative AI power that will eliminate the specialized silos or layers of vendor technology that a hotel, a brand, an ownership group, destination need to invest in to optimize how they design their hotels, how they market their tours, how they price their hotel rooms, and how they drive revenue or guest experience? So the answer at a high level is absolutely, but I don't think it's about eliminating particular vendors or eliminating particular technologies. I think there's going to need to be smart advisors or executives who can put together layers of this innovation, layers of it, and maybe potentially condense the amount of technology that they invest in today to get far more impactful plans, outcomes, strategies, designs, and executions. So I'm going to give you one scenario. So first thing, anyone who's still watching this hour-long session with a lot of smart people who are talking about a lot of interesting stuff, for me, the one thing I want people to research out of this whole conversation is type in generative AI into your search engine, into ChatGPT, into whatever, and learn everything about what that means and what that is. Because generative AI is the real overall impact or tsunami that is coming today and tomorrow into our industry that we're talking about, travel and hospitality, and all industries. The ability for a Marriott to take all their data, train it on their own L.L.M, large language model. So it's a Marriott AI model, and then be able to pump in various factors and questions and parameters because they want to design a new hotel brand and a new hotel physical design and a new hotel brand marketing plan and a new hotel brand select physical destinations where they should invest and build these new hotels. That's what we're talking about for the industry in some respects. Those kind of impactful, huge, efficient, optimized decision-making processes, both at the property level, at the management level, and at the corporate level, is what this whole conversation, in my opinion, is all about. How is that?
Yeah, it's very good. But this is, you know, this is.
I want to add, Simone. Can you hear me well?
Sure.
Now?
Yeah, now yes.
I want to add to Michael's point. He's talking about generative AI, and most of the current tools, artificial intelligence tools, are generative basically. But there are other kinds of AI that I think will come very soon also in the picture, like predictive AI, like RPA, which is robot process automation. So especially predictive AI, which can tell you, you can basically train the algorithm to tell you how would be the situation in the market, in the hospitality industry in 5 years. So you can plan ahead in 5 years what you got to do. You got to feed, again, the algorithm with the right data, but yet predictive AI is going to be also a huge thing in the future.
But I will add one thing quickly, specifically to your question, Simone. Almost any hospitality, travel, technology vendor today that doesn't have an AI strategy or an AI innovative overlay, not just because it's sexy, but because it's actually going to make their product more efficient, more marketable, keep them competitive, absolutely has to be doing that. And you know, people like Vincent and others who are experts in this, very focused experts, they've done a lot of research on which hospitality or travel technology platforms, whatever the acronyms are, PMS, RMS, CRS, many of them are falling behind and some are leading. So is that helpful more to your specific question? There will be some changes in the industry over the next 5 years based upon who is the most efficient, incorporating this tsunami of predictive or generative or dialogue-oriented large language models, data, and AI.
I'm also thinking that this could be very interesting for the hotel itself. You know, just think about, and I'm just thinking out loud now, but think about a hotel trying to pick a new booking engine. Today, the process is just horrible. You know, there is maybe one meta search for that, but you know, the information you're not always comparing apples to apples. And I'm thinking, just imagine like a system that can also assist you, even in a predictive way. Like, what do I need to stay in business as a hotelier in 5 years? And a predictive AI tool could help me out build my tech stack in a way that is scalable and I can be successful on the long run. So, and I totally agree with you. I think that all these vendors that will not integrate AI, and not again because it's sexy, like because it's like I think to a certain extent it's Darwinian. They will be the Kodak of tomorrow. Correct. They will be the laser discs of tomorrow. Guys, this has been super interesting. I think we're going to go to do a part 2 of this because there's so much to say. I just wanna, and we're far above 1 hour now, so I'm just going to ask you the last thing very quickly. Just what is the best way to get in touch with you? As I always ask every episode, so I'm going to start with you, Hasan. What is the best way to get in touch with you?
So LinkedIn, Hasan Algarhy, or my email, hasan@doverse.ae.
Roberto?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Garavaglia, Roberto Garavaglia.
Salman?
You can also find me on LinkedIn, Salman Halawi, or contact me via email through contact@metadesigners.co.
Matt?
On Twitter, Matt Curda.
We got a Elon Musk fan. Vincent?
Two ways. Firstly, LinkedIn, obviously, just my name works, or gainadvisors.com. Very simple, gainadvisors.com.
Very good. Eli.
What? Yeah, so the best way to contact me, guys, is through LinkedIn. I popped my LinkedIn profile linked in chat. So yeah, feel free to add me and let's keep this going.
Michael?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Michael C. Cohen, and also myself, Vincent, and 30 other amazing people within the GAIN organization at gainadvisors.com.
Very good. And then we got Sergio.
Yes, LinkedIn is the best platform, and thank you, Simone.
I think I called you all guys, right? Yeah. Yeah, very good. Okay, so thank you so much for that. This was very interesting. We're going to go with a part 2 of that, but so much food for thought. And sorry for the long question. Again, Michael, I'm going to add this on my LinkedIn bio. This is so hilarious. Thank you so much. And speak soon. Next episode.
Thanks,
in 1
everybody.
month. Polybius.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, guys. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, David. Thank you, Henry. Ciao, bye, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.